I've always kind of said that I was like an old soul, but it changes you because you know how short life is. It almost feels like it happened to someone else. I'm very family oriented. I love dogs. I love not taking life too seriously. I like to laugh. But when I was young, I had my grandma, we called her Nani, and she always told me that I had this like very calming spirit to be around. This is a big reason why I'm part of the healthcare field, is because of that calming spirit. I was working night shift. Actually, it was just about to be finals for my second semester of nursing school. And I woke up in like the middle of the night and I heard like a ring, like something like bounced. And I was so tired from working nights that I was like, I just went back to sleep. And then I woke up the next morning and I started feeling around and I was like, huh, there's like a lump there. And then after finals, I went to the doctor for the first time. That's the phase that I wouldn't ever relive because that anxiety like ate me alive, of like not knowing what was wrong and having to really fight, which I feel like you shouldn't have to do, but it is what it is. I knew it was cancer. I had a feeling. I just didn't know what kind. So I remember actually having that swollen lymph node and Googling and finding the patient story and just like binging on it. So by the time I was actually diagnosed, I like knew that what my treatment would be. I knew it all. So I was already like being proactive, and I went to my professors and I was like, hey, this is what's going on. And they told me that if it was the thyroid cancer, that I could stay in my nursing school program. But if it was like anything else, I would have to drop out of the program because I would be immunocompromised. I felt like I was finding my niche. I was getting really good grades. I was, in such a good flow that it felt like I was literally going from like 0 to 100. And it was so heartbreaking, even thinking about dropping out of the program. I remember where I was at. I read it in my chart. Again, it's a blessing and a curse. I was diagnosed in 2023, September, with stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma. Yeah, it was hard reading that, because it was like malignant, like it was in all caps. I think it was the medical assistant who like brought me back and he like gave me a hug, and I'm going to tear up. And this is another thing that kind of has carried me through with being a nurse too, is he just said, I've got you, we've got you. Which just felt so good because I felt like I was just spiraling and like nobody would believe me. So the first thing she said to me was, she got down on eye level and she said, I just want you to know this is not your fault. I know. So I was like instantly tearing up. Tearing up now. Another thing that's carried me through. It's just bad luck. That's what she said to me. And that was really affirming to hear, and you needed to hear that, especially at that time. I was immediately angry, mostly at aspect that I would have to drop out, and I didn't feel like I needed to at that time. It's like a grieving process. You're grieving, and I really wanted to because I was 29 at the time, so I really wanted to have, I don't know why, have my degree by the time I was 30. Did a year make a difference? No. In the long scheme of things, no. But I really wanted to. That was just my goal, and to have that like taken away from me, out of my hands, because you're just at everybody else's whim, and it's completely out of your control. But in the end, I was thankful, especially because like I lost my dad in January, very suddenly, and I was with my parents at the time. Like I'm still living with my mom, but I'm so thankful that I had that time with my dad, because I don't know, and my mom, they were just there for me, just providers. I felt like I could have kept going, and that would have been good for me in a way to keep going, because it would have like distracted me from, chemo, because chemo was every other week. So I did that for 8 rounds. So I felt like I was angry at first. Towards the very end, I would say like that probably like last 2 months. It's a cumulative effect. It really took me out. And I look back at those pictures and I looked ill and I felt ill. I didn't think it was going to be easy. In some ways, I think it was easier than what I thought it would be. And in other ways, I think it was harder. I think when you're going through treatment, you kind of have like this survivor mentality where you're just in it, you're in war mode. And then like after treatment is when it all really hit me personally. And I think because I joined a support group online on Facebook, and that really helped me too. And I know that that's like a common trend where like after treatment, like you're just like, what did I just go through? Um, but I think that like my first couple rounds, I did decently physically. Like first couple days, obviously like nausea, um, no appetite, no energy, slept a lot. Um, and then in other ways, after like those first couple, when I started like losing my hair, that was really hard. And it was like a slow trickle. I didn't actually shave my head until after I was done with treatment by like a couple weeks because I just felt like I needed a new start. It's a big hit for like women, especially, I was 29 when I got diagnosed. So at that time, it was, devastating to lose my hair. I'm still dealing with it. That's like my biggest thing right now. Like 2 years later, is my hair is still not where I want it to be. I'm still not confident in it. And these are extensions. And I didn't know this at the time, but I like hide behind my hair a little bit. Um, so losing my hair almost felt like losing a shield, losing your femininity. At the time, I don't think that it was as like when it initially happened, I feel like I was kind of numb because I was losing my hair anyways. And it's uncomfortable to lose your hair. It's like it hurts. Your scalp is sore. You can't do anything with it. And I felt like I was ready for it after because I was still losing my hair, but I was supposed to be done with, treatment. So it just felt like a next step to kind of just regrow from the start. And I still feel like a part of like my confidence, my femininity was stripped from me. And I still really struggle to get that back. I also gained weight during treatment and after treatment, and that's been really hard to get off. And when I spiral about it now, which it still happens, I get really mad because it's like it was completely out of my hands, and it's still out of my hands, it feels like. And I'm just at like the whim of time. Um, but I try not to dwell on that. I try to be like, okay, you can be angry for like a minute or two, but it is what it is, and you're just going to move forward. I always knew I was going to go back to nursing school. I think it was reapplying to get back into the program. Wait for a spot and then kind of restart from there. So I always knew, even going through treatment, I was like, this is going to make me a better nurse. I was like, this is going to change my mentality. I'm going to learn from this. It's all going to be great. And I do think that it changed me in a lot of ways. It just kind of like carries through with how I handle my patients now. Try to like keep that in mind. I never take anything too personally because I know what that was like, and I know it's not personal. It's just people coping however they cope, and there's no right or wrong way. It seems so cliche, and I probably rolled my eyes at it, I don't know, in a past life. But when you're in it, it really is like one day at a time. So don't skip ahead or like, and so much of it is out of your control. I feel like it really deepened my faith a lot, leaning into others, leaning into God, knowing that it's out of my hands. Because I feel like part of like the grief that you're feeling is like you feel like you're losing control of your life. And, realistically, you never had like the control. So I feel like that was a big kind of thing for me, is one day at a time, leaning into my faith and others.
If this video was meaningful for you, we've queued up another video here, a playlist here, and make sure you subscribe. Thank you for being a part of the Patient Story community. You're not alone.